doing horrible. Do you want to play a little? I think a lot of it is intellectual, like moral superiority.
Well, honestly, I think part of it too is like we get the vibe that no one can have conversations anymore, but that's because we're not really seeing people face to face anymore.
True.
You put people in a room, it's not going to be like it is on Twitter. Like you're going to have a civil start to your conversation. You'll get into the issues. You're likely, unless you're a psycho, you're likely going to have a reasonable conversation where you listen to each other. And then you might come to a disagreement, you might not agree, but by the end of it, you're going to walk away, and that's the end of it. It's not like on Twitter. And, like, that's kind of the mindset that I think it's so, like, that people fall into. It's like, well, no one can talk anymore. It's like, well, they could if they, like, actually, you know, met in person. Because no one talks the way that they do on Twitter in person. That's just not reality. If you go into the corporate workplace, or even just to a coffee shop, you're not going to run into someone and talk the way that you do on Twitter.
And I'm not trying to say, well, actually, but there are some people that
there's extremes, but there's 95% of the time, that's not going to happen.
Because I encountered a couple people in college like that were very much...
Which colleges are kind of the breeding ground for that
And
stuff.
that's the problem, is that you have these... There is no such thing in real life as a safe space.
No.
There just isn't. Someone can always come in and be a douche. Always. And, you know, these places, they try and make that not a reality, but it is. And it's probably from a good place to attempt to create that, you know, to try and create a place where, like, people can't be demonized and stuff like that, but what it turns into is just other people being demonized.
Right.
And that's not a safe space. So, like, if you have a safe space... If I have a safe space at, like, I'm using an example that I don't even know anything about, but... Remember Trump University? Remember I got in tons of trouble?
No, what is that?
Oh, it was like an old college thing that Trump had kind of set up, and it didn't really work out. He had to pay a big settlement.
Was it an accredited university? Or was
kind of. It's a little hard to describe, but anyway. Free steaks for everyone. No, that kind of thing. Like, imagine if you had that, but then you have a Biden supporter, and you say it's like a safe space, but everybody, like, tags up on him.
Right,
and it just destroys him. That's not a safe space. That's the problem I saw a lot of the times in college when I was in multiple colleges is anybody who leaned slightly right, and I will say, like, most people who lean slightly right were a little more right than I was in college. I very much mellowed out, and I would say I'm very center on a lot of stuff and have left views and right views on different things. I just think that left people are easier to make fun of a little bit because of how they present themselves on the internet.
Sure.
As, like, constantly angry about everything. So they're an easy source of memes. Whereas hardcore conservatives, their shit isn't funny. It's just like hating on homeless people and not liking and being racist or something. Yeah. It's not exactly too funny for a meme. Like when we're talking an extremist, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I noticed though in colleges a lot of times they would defend, like, even the teachers would be like more defensive of some students' ideas and not as much of others because they didn't line up. And that's the kind of stuff where it's like you can say whatever you want. That's not a safe area to talk. It's just not.
It's not. No.
And so then when you're saying it is, that's just not true. When you're saying this is a safe place to talk, but only if you believe this is like the underlying ideology. That's not at all then a place to have a conversation. That's a place for certain people to be quiet.
Right.
Because they know they'll get in trouble. You know?
And then it really creates an echo chamber where people aren't able to have conversations. And like that's kind of the problem.
So it's like online and these college campuses, I think both have made it like that. But the problem is then you have all these people who went to the college campus and they do drag some of that to real life. You know?
Yes.
Maybe the people who don't do that, but a lot of the people who did do start to push that mentality off on everyone, and then who wants to talk about anything then?
Right.
You know?
Right.
I don't know. It's not interesting. It's just going to backfire and make you the enemy of people, and so you just don't.
And that's the big problem I think with universities is some people think that transfers over into real life, and then it kind of is because there's enough people going to college still, and it kind of creates a breeding ground for real, I don't know, it's people who are detached a little bit from what real life is. You know what I mean? Like you go into a university. University is kind of a safe space in its own right, a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it used to be a place where you would get your ideas challenged and you would go into class. Yep. It would be kind of a back and forth discourse. That's not really the case anymore. It's kind of a
it is if you're on the right. If you're on the right, your ideas will be challenged immediately.
Oh, true. Yeah,
because everybody, like community colleges, especially, and state colleges are almost entirely liberal based.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's you're right, but like the problem is the other people just get their ideas reinforced.
Yeah.
There's no challenge. Like, you'd have to be pretty insane to get challenged, like extremist levels.
Yes.
And even some of that doesn't. Like, you see these people going around, like, policing people's hairstyles. You know what I mean? Like, on college campuses. Like, that's a black hairstyle. You can't have that. They don't know that it was invented by Egyptian people who are black, kind of, but also they're their own thing, kind of a between Middle Eastern and black. They don't really realize that. They don't realize that that was actually passed down from like maybe the Mesopotamia earlier on. They don't know that history. They just know, well, when my people got it was this year, so you can't have it.
And that's when it all started. Yeah. Yeah.
And they know their history to a point to where it benefits them. But like even for someone like me, you know, I've had someone call me a colonizer before. Guess what? I'm Irish. We were a colony. Mm-hmm. We were shit on forever.
Oh, yeah.
Forever. You know, if you talk about the bad things Britain and England, you know, they did to people, the United Kingdom, I guess, you know, did to people.
Just look at the Revolutionary War time period. Awful what was going on around there in Ireland.
Yeah, and you look at the potato famine and stuff. It's like, you can't tell me, you know, about persecution. Because, like, yes, I didn't live through it, just like you didn't live through slavery.
Right.
You just didn't.
Right.
And in that same token, it's like, but if we're talking about sins of the fathers type, these people went through this, I'm right there with you. What's your point? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, what are we getting at? Like, I wouldn't go around and be like, somebody's got Irish a kilt. Clearly they want to murder all the Irish and steal from them.
Right.
You know, and you look at certain, like... If you look at Mexican culture specifically, no, not Latino culture, and, you know, and I'm generalizing to Mexican, literal Mexican culture, and parts of Central America, south of them, they love people celebrating their culture. They, you know, like I even saw this interview thing where this guy went around wearing a sombrero and a fake mustache and a poncho. And this was a white guy, and he asked all these people, like, is this offensive? And all these white people were like, oh, it's so offensive. And then he went into a Latino area and asked them, and they were like, no, I like your outfit. It's funny. They're like, hey, you're looking sharp, buddy. You know, like they were all, like, making a little joke about it because they thought it was fun. You know, you see this kind of stuff, and it's like, it comes back to people talking for other people, and then sometimes even galvanizing them. Like, look at the black communities. They, in general... have, with Black Lives Matter, this is a very touchy subject, it all started with good intentions, but then you look at things like that woman who was like, pretending to be black, and was like, and Black Lives Matter, or you look at like the certain people who have taken, you know, supposedly, allegedly millions of dollars and bought mansions and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, that's not benefiting the black community, but those people, they used them. They galvanized those people. They made them more angry. They stoked the flames and then benefited from it. So you even have these people who talk for others now starting to turn normal people who have good intentions, who just want equality or what's right for them, into an extremist that benefits the leader. It's like a cult.
Well, if they're not a part of that extremist group, then they're part of the problem. Is the way that the way that it's framed. I think that's the big issue too. Is people aren't even allowed to like, well, that's not quite for me, because there's always been kind of like extremists. You know what I mean? Like that's always been kind of a thing, depending on the group. And there's extreme groups really throughout history. But like, as far as I remember, you were allowed to kind of choose if you wanted to be a part of that or not. It kind of doesn't feel like that anymore. It's like if you're not, then you're an issue.
All in or all out.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. And it's a shame because I think that kind of stuff does make it where maybe you can still have a conversation, but because you believe nothing will come from it, who wants to?
Right.
Like, would you really want to have a debate with strangers, or would you just say, I don't care what these people think?
Probably
it's not worth it.
Yeah, right. Probably that one.
And that's kind of where everybody, I think, for the most part, that isn't an extremist weirdo now falls, and then you have everybody who's normal just stay quiet. Because it's not worth it.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I might have talked about this too long. It's just extremely frustrating to me. It's something I have experienced firsthand. And it's not that it like ruined my life or anything, but I think it's just very disheartening.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you feel like you can't really go out and, like, say what you think anymore, you know, which is a really sad place to be, especially in modern day Western society, where that's supposed to be the whole point, you know? It's not really. You can, but, like, you're risking a lot by doing that, which is...
Even your job.
That's the
That's
thing.
not okay. And then people will say, well, you still have freedom of speech just because you lost your job. The government's not persecuting you. I kind of think in some ways, I don't know if they would ever do this because I think there's too much corporate control in America. I think in some ways, outside of a crime like being a ped or human trafficking or stuff like that, they almost should expand the First Amendment to protect some people's rights of employment, because a lot of people are getting fired for what should be an easy wrongful termination clause lawsuit, but they either don't have the money to pursue it or it's thrown out of court.
Right.
And that kind of stuff, I almost feel like people would benefit from it being expanded to protect a lot of that stuff, because, like, honestly,
the problem is, like, corporate HR is very one-dimensional in the way that it thinks too a lot of the time.
Right.
You know, like, HR is also that way. So it's, like, employment has kind of gone the same way of college universities. They're very... I don't want to say exactly the same, but corporate HR is not that different from, you know, that creating that kind of safe space environment and a little bit more left-leaning in how they view things, which is, I think, like you said before, I think a lot of it comes from a good place of, like, inclusiveness and trying to be, you know, like, get rid of some of the discriminatory hiring practices, things like that. But some people go too far, and that's just kind of what happens.
And too many people have gone too far in an organized way now.
Right.
Like, it's too easy to go too far, I think.
Yes.
That was a very good shot.
That was hot.
And too easy to find other people like you. They've even talked about this with, like, the PED stuff. I know it's a crime for that one, but... you know, back in the day, it used to be like some guy would live in a town. The next nearest, like, child predator would be a town over. They would have no communication, really no way to know, hey, you're here, I'm here, let's network. Now, there's, like, forums hidden on the internet. There's message boards, DMs, all this stuff, ways to be like, can you send me this picture? Do you have a kid? Do you have this? Do you have that? It's the same thing with human trafficking adults and all this other stuff, is by connecting everyone in a way, you've disconnected them, because you've connected predators. You've connected, whether it's predators of crime or predators of ideology, like extremists, or predators of, like, those people at Black Lives Matter who wanted to take advantage of black people to further their own stuff. You connect them and put them in positions of power where they are able to enact change on, at the very least, a local level. And that has real consequences. What was that guy doing?
I know.
I
know. I did not like that.
I don't know. It's just, it's rather unfortunate and sad, I think, because the benefits of, like, things like the internet and modern intellectualism should far outweigh the negatives, and sometimes it seems like they really don't.
No. It is really sad that's kind of what it's come to, is that it's not really balanced anymore, and there was kind of a sense of balance. That's the whole point of, like, political parties and having two sides of things, and a lot of times more than two sides, because then you can kind of process things and hear other people's ideas, and it can change the way that you think, and it creates innovation and new ideas and things that are really helpful to society. When you get rid of that balance and that ability to have free-flowing ideas and, like, hey, I can talk out loud and kind of process this. If I say something wrong, we'll just correct it and move on, not, like, cancel me and my life's over, you know. And it kind of halts the ability to let ideas flow freely, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I don't know. And that's what holds you back. That's what, not saying that China is like way above us or anything, but it does kind of put, like, and China is not in a good spot as far as what they can say either, but it gives you kind of a disadvantage as far as what you're allowing your people to create and do for your country too, you know?
Yeah, and you see that, like, you see, like, an insane economy because no one's willing to put up a fight on it. Mm-hmm. But you also see some unhappiness of, like, the people who do fall through the cracks. Like, in America, at least someone tries to pull them back out.
Yes.
I don't think that really exists in a lot of countries. You know, if you're labeled an enemy of the state or an enemy of ideology, you are the enemy.
Right.
and you're gone. And if something bad happens to you, nobody really cares.
No.
There's just no empathy for
No,
it.
not at all.
Because it's like, good, they got what they deserved. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, I think this kind of stuff
There's
is...
Joaquin Phoenix is walking around, yeah.
Yeah, that's, I think, what's led a lot of our generation, the generation under us, to be very nihilistic.
Right.
And sad, if not angry. Constantly feeling like you're muffled.
And then what you say does not matter at all. Yeah.
And what you say will be tracked.
Well, that too, yeah.
It only matters to punish you. So then you have all these people who have no opinion on any of this stuff because they're like, why bother? I'd just get hurt.
Why do I have to think about these things? Yeah.
They just hurt me.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do? I'm one person. I can't change anything. And if I do have a dissenting opinion and I voice it, then bad things happen to me. Mm-hmm. So I might as well have no opinion, just fade into the background and kind of live my life and do whatever I want.
Because I don't have to worry about the consequences.
You almost can't blame them.
No.
It's like, who wants to deal with the bullshit? I don't know.
That's exhausting.
And you see any of these guys who do become who do start to speak up, almost become an unwanted figurehead to stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh.
Anyway, that's why Freq believes in shock collars.
He does, dude. And not just for sexual purposes either. It's really for discipline.
Honestly, both.
Freq really, what he likes to do is, he likes to really put his focus on and make sure that he gets up every morning at the same time, and anytime that he misses a shot, he wants it to hurt. So he, first of all, starts his day with a nice kinky shock. That not only gets the blood flowing, but all to the right places, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Then he starts his day out, starts making shots. Anytime he misses a shot collar. And then he puts one on his teammates and his coach, because he likes to assert his dominance in the team.
There's also one on every Magic fan in the crowd. So, like,
correct.
Someone feels it with him.
Yes.
And it's an encourager for Freq to know that, like, there's a stranger out there.
Oh, for sure. And the only person who doesn't have one is Gee Whiz, because he doesn't want him to get hurt when he's
Gee Whiz is on his cock.
Right. Well, correct. Yeah, exactly.
So that it's electrified piss. It's like, that's how Freq thinks electrolytes are made. Gee whiz, piss in the Gatorade, quick!
I need to replenish!
As he's pissing. People have been electrocuted before by their piss, like, hitting a live wire.
They did that on Mythbusters, and I thought it didn't work, but maybe you just have to pee really hard.
I thought it did work somewhere. Maybe I'm making it up.
You might be making up fake news. But then again, I don't remember the Mythbusters episode. Maybe it worked.
It was
I just know
weird.
they did it.
They all stood in a circle and did it together, and then there was a new Mythbusters cast the next episode. It cut to black. I don't know whatever happened to those guys.
They said it was fake, though, and they all just retired. It was really weird.
Yeah, all at the same time.
No! Oh, we're up by 10. We're good.
No, we're not good. You can't let them run up the score.
Oh!
How is that
blocking foul? He just mauled me.
How is that a blocking foul?
That's unbelievable, Stripes.
You.
I'm gonna ram you.
He said, I said he rammed you.
I'm gonna ram you. Bend over.
Is it a little discombobulating to you that, like, there's certain things in this game that look really good, like the court, and then other things that look like a 3D monstrosity, like our character, that look like they don't belong?
It's a little bit jarring how our guy just really doesn't look like he belongs in this game at all. Because the court, like you said, fantastic graphics, love what they got going on. Mascot, dancing, coaches, all of it, fantastic.
Mascot grinding on the coach.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really a big fan. By the way, I think cheerleaders are back in 2K23.
Were they gone?
The kids were in there. Yeah, they had kids dancing for you. Which you might argue 2K, that's a little weird, right?
Wait a minute, you were serious about that?
Yeah, they had kids dancing.
I don't believe you.
Dead serious, look it up. Kids dancing on an NBA 2K court.
Wait, in how many games?
Probably the last 3.
Wait, so it's been happening since like 19?
It's been happening for a while. They got rid of the cheerleaders.
Why?
Put some kiddos in there.
Why did they get rid of cheerleaders?
They like kids.
No, seriously, why? Like, what's the reasoning? Was it sexist? I'm being serious.
That's what I would assume. I never looked up like a reason why specifically.
What is with these people who speak for women? Like, those women are not out there at gunpoint. They like showing off. They all clearly have a nice body.
Yeah.
They're there to root for the team. They're there to have a fun time. They like the attention. They like the money, right? They get paid. They do get paid.
Not much, but yeah, they do.
They get paid.
Yeah.
They like that stuff. They're not there at duress. It's not like they've been trafficked into the NBA.
Correct, yes.
Why do people act like this? This happened with NASCAR, too. There were these girls. I think it was NASCAR. Maybe it was Formula 1. No. The real life thing is either NASCAR or Formula 1. Sorry if I don't know which, because I don't. So I guess I should have just said that. But with this racing company, there were these girls who wore very little, and they were cheerleaders for it. They were like the models for the racing.
Yeah.
And a bunch of women, like feminist idiots, got together and they argued that like this was exploiting women and this and that and this, and they all got fired. They basically lost their jobs over this.
But what if they wanted to do it?
They did want to. They were pissed. They were pissed.
Because if they're like acting like, guys, we really don't want to be doing this anymore. We're not getting paid. This sucks. This is the worst internship I ever signed up for. Dad should not have signed me up for this. All right, I'm out.
Daddy shouldn't have. What was that? Was that to Gee Whiz in a different
Tom
state?
Brady on acid.
Gee Whiz was taking a whiz in the bathroom, and they tried to pass it to him back in the lockers.
Gee Whiz gets knocked over.
He's like,
Freak's gonna be so mad. I'm saving this for later for Freak.
He gets hit in the tummy, and it's like his piss just shoots everywhere like a geyser. Freak is like, no! He just punches Seymour in the throat. No, dude, I'm telling you, like, what is with these people? They decide, like, this is bad for you. You know what I genuinely think it is? I always say this. People say this is offensive. They're fucking ugly. These people are ugly. They're like these women who can't control their weight. This is coming from a fat guy.
Sure.
And so they're mad that there's other women out there, like, showing off, being happy, making money, doing this and that. And because if you can put that down, then the problem isn't that you didn't take care of yourself. It's the same thing with, like, the Adele losing weight. The problem is not that you didn't take care of yourself. The problem is everybody else. They're sexist, or they're buying into the male gaze, or they're promoting unhealthy medical body health stereotypes that can't be reached.
What if she just wanted to be happier and way less?
They can be reached. That person got skinny. Yeah. You didn't. Change something or deal with it. If you're happy with not being skinny, you don't have to defend that to anybody. It is a free country.
Yeah.
I'm fat.
You're not that fat.
I'm a little fat.
Come on.
I'm like 300 pounds.
But you're really tall.
Yeah, I know. I wear it well, but I am like 300 pounds.
You do wear it well.
That's overweight. But I don't like go like, well, T's hitting the gym. What a piece of shit. Time to kill him. Let's go for his job. Aim for the throat. Get rid of him. He's promoting unhealthy stereotypes about men. When I see The Rock, you know what I think? That guy is hot. That guy looks good. I wish I looked like that. I am not a crazy person who's going to spend 3 hours a day in the gym. So I don't.
Right.
It's not The Rock's fault that I'm not going to donate that time to it.
He just takes care of himself, and he does it all the time because he gets paid. He gets paid $100 million a year to take care of himself.
And he looks awesome.
And he does. He looks great.
And even if there's a guy not getting paid to take care of themselves who looks great, good for him.
Right.
I love it. More people should be healthy. You know what? I've been trying to get in better shape. I don't do a very good job trying to get in better shape. That to me, if anything, is kind of a wake-up call of, like, I am capable of that kind of stuff, too. That's not a thing of, like, time to advocate against Slim Shady because he's not Fat Shady.
Right.
Like, what are we doing here? What is the point? I don't know.
It is, man. It's
I'm
like,
mad.
why make people mad? Like, why...
I'm mad.
Yeah. Why really bring people down when they're just trying to... Like, their whole objective is like, you know what? I want to feel better. I don't want my knees to hurt. I want to take my swimsuit off and feel like a dime piece, like a rocket. Let them do it.
Yeah.
Let them have fun.
It does not matter
and
at
it
all.
doesn't. It actually helps them. It does nothing to you. Not a single thing. Yeah, it's a sad thing, man. It's just it's a lot of jealousy, and maybe your point is right. Maybe it's just ugly people that are mad for no reason about it.
We're 74 overall, by the way. So if we ever come back to this, you know what? Maybe a year from now or something. I'll get back in the mood. I'll play some rounds, maybe get us to 80 or something.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We'll do a few more games on Ready for Sex. He might actually have another name change by then. He might have a different hairstyle for a while. We never know because that guy is up to some crazy stuff. But we got to finish off with some kind of interaction with somebody here.
We do. Who do we want to talk to? Tony Parker's cool, I guess.
Nice, lame.
Shaq, Rudy.
Rudy to show that I'm not
gay.
against gay people.
No, yeah. Ronnie 2K. Do Ronnie 2K.
Paul Pierce.
He's very epic.
Paul Pierce the Veil. Kyle Lowry.
Kevin Love.
Yeah dude, go to a party with Rudy Gay.
We have to.
That's how we end it. We played with Pride jerseys, and we went to a party with Rudy Gay. So when you tell me that I hate gay people because I don't like Bernard, just remember I have a gay friend. His name is Rudy Gay. And I went to a party with him one time.
And that's all you need to know. Watch this Let's Play, and you'll know all that you need to know about your progressive thoughts.
That's all you'll know. I'll walk like a hero at the camera on my way into the Capitol in January. And we'll leave it right there. Freq was there, by the way.
On January 6th?
It has been confirmed Freq was there. Independent sources in the media confirmed it, and that was a glitch. That's actually horrible looking. Well, let's end this Let's Play for now. Maybe in the future we'll come back.
It's been fun.
We're going to do 23 and 21 and 22 overtime.
Overtime eventually, yeah.
Sometime.
But this was great.